Welcome to this video lecture on introductory histology topics, which will include H&E staining, as well as an overview of the different types of epithelia. My name's Christopher Demas, and I'm going to be walking you through these topics. So we're going to start off with H&E staining, which stands for hematoxylin and eosin. Without staining, cells would be actually quite dull and translucent, so staining allows us to highlight details within the cell that otherwise wouldn't be present. So hematoxylin is a basic or positively charged stain, which typically appears a blue or violet color. Now, right now I'm drawing some DNA, and in particular you notice the phosphate and sugar backbone. This tends to be negatively charged and will bind to the positively charged hematoxylin stain, giving it that characteristic blue color. Eosin, on the other hand, is an acidic, negatively charged stain, and it will typically bind to things that are positively charged and give it a red or pink color. That's why the cytoplasm looks red here. So this is a protein that we're zooming in on. You can see the 3D folded tertiary structure of the protein, as well as the secondary alpha helix structure. And eosin is going to bind to basic amino acids, positively charged lysine and arginine, and it will give it that red color that's characteristic of the cytoplasm. So now we're going to be taking a look at the different types of epithelia found throughout a human body. I'm going to be drawing in some of the structures in the human body that we're going to be focusing on with the following part of this lecture. There are two types, main categories of epithelia, simple as well as stratified, which respectively refers to a single layer versus multi-layered epithelia. We're going to be starting with the simple epithelia structures. This first structure is very good when it comes to diffusion, or letting things pass through the epithelia. And this is common within the lining of the blood vessels, the lining of the Bowman's capsule, as well as pulmonary alveoli, and it is known as simple squamous. And we're focusing on the lung here and the pulmonary alveoli in that particular part of the picture. Now we're going to zoom in on the thyroid here, and a slightly thicker epithelium, however it's still one cell layer thick, is called simple cuboidal. And this is found typically in the thyroid gland as well as the tubules of the kidney. And you'll be learning about these more as you continue with your lecture series in histology. The next type of epithelial that we're going to focus on is pseudo-stratified columnar, which can be found in the conducting airway of the respiratory tract. This type of epithelia can be ciliated or non-ciliated. Cilia are cell extensions that contain motor proteins that in the conducting airway of the respiratory tract sweep debris up and out such that the mucus can be swallowed. This type of epithelia can also be found in the vas deferens, which contains stereocilia. Stereocilia are structures that are closer related to microvilli than cilia, and this is something you'll learn more about in your lecture series. The next type of epithelia is found in the digestive tract and is also a simple variety. This is called simple columnar. It's often found, as mentioned, in the digestive tract, such as in the stomach, the small intestines, and the large intestines. Now we're going to move over to some more complex epithelia that have multiple layers. And the first type here is going to be a variety known as stratified squamous. This type of epithelia is often found covering tissue that is subject to abrasion. So it serves a protective role oftentimes in the body. And some of the locations where this can be found is in the epidermis, the skin, the esophagus, the tongue, the oral cavity, as well as the vaginal lining. The next epithelial that we'll focus on is a stratified variety as well, known as stratified cuboidal. It has multiple layers, only two, and often has a cuboidal shape to the structure. It's often found in places such as the ovarian follicle, as well as sweat glands. The next type of epithelia that we'll be focusing on is a fairly rare type of epithelia, and it is also a stratified type with 2 layers, and it's a columnar, stratified columnar. This type of epithelia can be found in eye conjunctiva as well as sweat glands. The final type, we're going to zoom in on the bladder here, is a type called transitional epithelia. And it's characteristic of having these dome-like cells found on top of the epithelia, on the very top, as you can see in this picture. It's often very flexible and can be compressed, and this is why it is a good type of epithelia to be found in the bladder, as well as some other areas such as the urethra, as well as the ureters. So this was an overview of the introductory histology topics that you're going to be seeing in lecture, and I hope you found this to be helpful.